so happy about this. All right, so welcome, ghosts and ghouls, to our 8th episode on the Unfinished TBR.
Yes.
Welcome to our group chat, the spooky group chat this time. We are the itches again.
We're the itches. It's short for witches.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
Yeah. That was the sole intention with that group chat name.
Yeah.
I can't look.
All of Allie's side eyes just going to be like.
Yeah, so I guess we should start this out by explaining. This is our spooky read recommendation episode. So, obviously, we are dressed in Halloween costumes.
Obviously.
Because why not?
Yeah.
Kasey, tell us about it.
I'm dressed as a cat.
Yeah, you are.
Like my little ears.
I love the ears.
Thank
That
you.
is super
Thank
cute
you.
with the sequins and everything. That's adorable.
They're adorable.
I am Wednesday Addams.
Allie?
Banana. No, okay. So my mom, I feel like my mom is going to be questioning this. So I want to tell the story. I didn't think we were being serious about costumes.
What?
I didn't think
was
we were-
very explicit about the fact we were doing costumes.
I was so excited about costumes.
So I just kind of thought that it was like kind of like a breezeway conversation. Remember, I left her.
Oh, that's right. We had a...
She posted it on...
In Snapchat.
Yeah, she posted it on Snapchat, but she just kind of was like, hey, we brought it up.
That is true.
You
And
had more
then
Snapchats than that.
never-
She ignored you.
So then this week, she's like, hey, y'all pick out a costume. Hey, guess what? I just had a baby, gained 50 pounds. And so none of my costumes fit. And I mean, I could have been a leather Batgirl, but that was back whenever Batgirl, but it was like fake leather,
Yeah.
you know,
Oh,
outfit.
okay.
But that was back whenever I was 110 pounds. So I didn't think y'all wanted to see this busted can of biscuits. So I was like, oh, I'll just be a football player. We got a big football game today anyway. So I was
Yeah.
like, that way I'll go ahead and have my uniform on.
Whoop,
You
whoop.
know, I'll be ready to get out on the field and win one for the team.
That's
Okay?
right.
I will give my all for Tennessee today.
That's right.
And Mom was like, I do have a jersey. She couldn't find the actual jersey, so she had a shirt that was jersey material, and I was just afraid it wouldn't read well.
As a costume.
Yeah, I was afraid that y'all would be like, she girl.
So
So
instead,
I was gonna run by the dollar store, and Kasey said, hey, I've got a black bob wig, I've got a Jason Voorhees mask, I've got a strawberry and banana. And so I was like, screw it, give me the banana.
Those were her exact words this morning. This morning, by the way, before we got here.
So
Screw it.
I'd like to
Bring me the
enlighten her
banana.
on the pod. She's wearing my husband's Halloween costume from last year.
that's all right.
I just wanted them to have this connection, just
I
really
do
make
have
that
that
bond
I feel like this is
stronger.
gonna bother him more than it bothers me.
Oh, yeah. I was like, I walked through the house and said, I'm telling you, not asking you. Allie's wearing your banana costume today. He goes, no, put it back.
Dude,
I mean, I could have been like, I have cat ears, but I didn't want to like, yeah.
well,
She
if,
already picked cat.
if I had thought about it more, with you being a banana, I've got a Minion costume.
Banana.
Matthew's got a Gru costume.
Oh.
We could have.
We could have been minions.
I didn't think about it.
I know,
didn't
we're good.
think about it.
We're adorable.
We're adorable anyway.
This suits our personalities.
adorable.
Though. Hannah
You're
took this
adorable.
Hannah took this very seriously. I took this very cutesy, and Allie takes nothing seriously. So
No.
it's just making the epitome of what this episode's going to be.
I
Yes.
was making jokes at my granny's funeral.
She was. Ouch! I was trying to decide if I was allowed to laugh at some of those. I only caught a few, but it was questionable.
So yeah, this episode is our spooky recommendations episode. We've got a whole bunch to choose from. I mean, I don't know how to explain this chart that I made.
I didn't understand it, and I read it, the entire thing.
So I
was
know
lost.
you can't see it from there, and it's all wrinkled too because I sat on it.
Whoops.
But I've got all of mine set into categories for like just for funsies, young adult, gives you the feeling of somebody watching you, creature. I've got it all mapped out. Anything that you need.
So I
From
just
my recommendations,
have
at least.
gives spooky vibes, gives heavy vibes, and
like it.
starters.
I like that.
Starters.
I like that.
Yeah.
So how about should we start with starters? Or should we?
But Kasey, I think Kasey should go last, so that way
That's true.
I do
Kasey
need
corner.
to go last.
So how
Casey's
about-
corner is going to be, this is the safe space where I'm going to tell you everything they said is horrifying, and this is how you read spooky without being scared.
So let's explain our dynamics a little bit. Allie is the most hardcore whenever it comes to the horror genre.
As I'm sitting
as
here in
a
my bananas.
whole. I know
She
it's
doesn't
hard
take
to
horror
believe,
seriously either.
but she has read the most horrific stuff. I've got somewhere in an in between range. I'm right there. I'm right in the middle.
I, at best, am a murder mystery.
So we've got a wide spread of selections for you guys. So let's dig right in. So do we want to start with the heavy stuff?
Let's go ahead and do heavy. Let's go
Okay.
ahead and do heavy because I am not a heavy horror type of book girly. I like the ghosty version. We've talked about this before.
That is true.
There are different horror novels that I've read where it literally makes you sick to your stomach. There's horror novels where it's very deep meaning, and yeah, it has ghosts in it, but really it's just gruesome, gory, that type of deal. And so I'm not a big fan of the gruesome. I just never have been, and I don't like it to make me
Feel
what is
icky.
yes, I just feel icky.
Yeah.
I don't want to read anymore.
Yeah.
And there is one on here.
That gives you that feeling.
Still to this day, I read it in January. And it's still to this day.
What was
Is
it?
this need a not lot level, or
I don't want to
takes me an extra
Oh.
10 minutes to go to sleep?
This is like I couldn't eat because it was just like
Oh, disturbingly.
yes.
Okay.
Yes. So-
I don't even read things that are anywhere close. I didn't know disturbing was a level I should have given, but that's, yeah.
So, I have read Tender is the Flesh by Agustina Bazterrica. It is very highly talked about. I was not a fan. About the storyline, about it's a post-apocalyptic world where all the meat is contaminated. The government is telling you, even though that there's animals roaming around free,
They can't.
you can't eat those. So they farm humans. Like humans are born in if you are born into a certain family, you are sent to get muscle growth hormones. You are like to a slaughterhouse. So it follows the life of a guy who works for this slaughterhouse. And he falls in love with one of the humans. The
cattle.
This, yeah, the slaughter humans. So
Oh my
They're
gosh.
they cut their vocal cords. Ugh. It's just like from a baby, they cut their vocal cords. So like whenever they're screaming, they're just.
Oh my god.
This is the type of heavy that we're talking about.
Yes.
I do
Oh my
not
God.
like. This is the type of heavy that we are talking about. I do.
I'm going to
not
need
like.
a not lot tonight, and I've not even read it.
So I also have read The Only Good Indians by Stephen Graham Jones. This is another one where if this is what you like, I would suggest it for you. I wasn't a fan of it. It's not the type of spooky that I like.
I gotcha.
It is 4 Native American friends are go on this trip around Thanksgiving. They end up killing this elk who ends up being pregnant. It made me sad because I had just had Isla whenever I read this. So talk about sad.
Yeah.
But and the ghost of the elk comes back and picks them off. So, and I do find Stephen Graham Jones is Native American heritage, but the reason it's called The Only Good Indians is there is a saying called "The only good Indians is a dead Indian."
Yeah, that's literally,
I didn't know that was a saying.
literally a saying. It's very problematic.
Yeah,
Oh my
that's why it's called
god.
The Only Good Indian.
So that's what the elk was thinking.
Now we are getting into things that I didn't necessarily enjoy. The last one I did not enjoy. It was a good story, but oh my god, I would never read it again, and I don't suggest that you do, but if this is your type of book, this is the book you want to read. So,
Oh gosh.
this one I did enjoy. Things Have Gotten Worse Since We Last Spoke, and Other Misfortunes by LaRocca. This is rated top 50 horror books of all time by Cosmopolitan. Someone described it as 3 dark and disturbing horror stories from an astonishing new voice, including the viral sensation tale of obsession. So it's got 3 small short stories in it. I especially remember the first story. I kind of remember the second story, like here and there. I kind of thought it was another book that I read, but the third story, I could not tell you anything about it.
Really?
I'm about to read you the synopsis, and I do not remember anything about this third story.
Huh.
So the first one is, so it's the synopsis for the full book, but it's a whirlpool of darkness churns at the heart of a macabre ballet between 2 lonely young women in an internet chat room in the early 2000s. A darkness that threatens to forever transform them once they finally succumb to their most horrific desires. This is the second part. A couple isolate themselves on a remote island in an attempt to recover from their teenage son's death when a mysterious young man knocks on their door during a storm. And the last one, a man confronts his neighbor when he discovers a strange object in his backyard, only to be drawn into an ever more dangerous game. 3 devastating, beautifully written horror stories from one of the genre's most cutting-edge voices. What have you done today to deserve your eyes?
My
That
gosh.
is from the first story.
You like this one?
So this one is most notable. I didn't necessarily like it. This one is most notable because I literally retched at the first book.
gosh.
My god.
Yeah, I can tell you exactly where I was. I was on lunch. I was sitting in my car at the ballpark.
Yeah.
Because I sit there on my lunch breaks. And I opened a door because I thought I was going to throw up. Yeah. Yeah.
Lord.
Holy cow.
So,
If that's your cup of tea.
I'm just going to talk about the first story because it is the most notable. Well, I fixed my costume. Okay. Hold on.
Get comfortable.
Okay. Is my head up?
Yeah.
Okay. So, the story follows a couple who meet on an online chat group. And it is, Kasey, you talked about a book one time where it was like it was going through the police files.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You know? So what I didn't like about it is like, so it was like, oh, these are the actual conversations between this couple. They end up meeting on this chat group, never met in person, but they fall in love. 2 women. And one is a dominant and one wants the other one to be completely submissive. Like ask what she wants to wear, what she can wear for the day, ask what she can eat for the day, yada, yada, yada. The submissive girl wants to be pregnant. She's always wanted to be a mother. But, you know, she's attracted to women, so she kind of figured that she never could be. And she's like, I wish that we could meet, and I wish that we could have a family, and like all this other stuff. And the dominant lesbian says, I know how to give you that feeling like you are a mother. A friend of mine ate bad meat and ended up getting a tapeworm. I want you to go to the butcher, get a slab of meat, sit it on your front porch for 2 weeks, and eat it. Uncooked. Ugh. She talked about, she goes into detail about just like eating this, and that's what made me almost throw up.
Oh my Lord.
Yeah, that's completely
So
understandable.
she ends up getting a tapeworm.
It's a tapeworm.
The dominant is telling her, like, hey, you got to go to the hospital. I didn't think that you would actually do this. I was testing your loyalty.
Wow.
Hey, you got to go to the
Oh my
hospital.
God.
And she's like, things have gotten worse since we last spoke. I'm sick. I believe it's morning sickness, like all this other stuff. This girl's delusional.
Yeah,
And
sounds like it.
So they have pulled these chats as evidence.
Right.
But, and here's what I don't understand. Why do authors, if you're going to use these chats as evidence and you put redacted, like it would be like chapter 3, Evie, or I can't remember their names. So Evie, redacted. Penelope, redacted. Evie, redacted. Penelope, redacted. Just don't write that.
Yeah.
Like, this is a fictional story.
Yeah.
Just get to the good part. Get to
Don't
the part that's
write
not
that. That's
redacted.
such a waste of time and ink.
Yeah.
Which I read it on Kindle, so
Still.
on Libby. Yeah. So the first story I put, you can see here, sick to your stomach. Sick to your stomach.
Yeah, that sounds like it.
Quote that I highlighted in this book. After all, what exactly is a family if not a brotherhood and sisterhood afflicted with the same terminal disease? What? If that just tells you about how dark and deep this book is.
My gosh.
Yeah, I mean, if that's the front page, the cover of this book looks scary, and so I was like, oh man, this is gonna be good, you know.
And then
Yeah. And then it's that.
I'm going to need to go back and read Assistant to the Villain now.
Oh,
Wipe
just for
this
fun,
from my
just
brain.
wait until I tell you about Brother by Ania Ahlborn.
No.
Has your husband started reading this
No.
at all? No, he won't.
He's not yet.
I've
He's
told
slow.
you the story about Brother.
I was disturbed the first time. I'll be disturbed yet again.
I'll read you the synopsis because this is the one that I read in January that it's so gross. It is so unsettling.
I vaguely remember that,
Yeah.
but I can't remember like what you said. I just remember you being like,
Yeah. That's
Just,
exactly.
ugh.
Yeah. But this is a good book because I couldn't put it down. I was like, but it has to get better, right? Like, not better as in like storytelling, but it has to get like,
There has to be a happy ending.
yeah.
I gotcha.
And there is not a happy ending. Now this is $11.89 on Kindle. I thought I wrote it down. I didn't. Okay. It is 99 cents with Audible with your membership.
Wow.
And $9.99 on Kindle, like on the actual Kindle, and $11.89 for the paperback.
I want my paperback.
Okay.
I want my-
Deep in the heart of Appalachia stands a crooked farmhouse miles from any road. The Morrows keep to themselves, and it served them well so far. When girls go missing off the side of the highway, the cops don't knock on their door, which is a good thing, seeing as to what's buried in the Morrows' backyard. But 19-year-old Michael Morrow isn't like the rest of his family. He doesn't take pleasure in the screams that echo through the trees. Michael pines for normalcy, and he's sure that someday he'll see the world beyond West Virginia. When he meets Alice, a pretty girl working at a record shop in the small nearby town of Dahlia, he's immediately smitten. For a moment, he nearly forgets about the monster he's become, but his brother, Rebel, is all too eager to remind Rebel of his place. Popular highlights from this book. He only wished Mama would kill them while the sun was shining, rather than waiting till dark. If it didn't matter how hard they screamed. Michael didn't get what the difference would be. Day or night, dead was dead. At least during the day, he wasn't trying to sleep. Any time he heard laughter inside, it seemed as though the room sucked up the sound and squelched it beneath a veil of discolored wallpaper. If that house were alive, it would feed on happiness and breathe out nothing but screaming and hate. And hey, I agree. Because this book is so dark and twisted, and there is a scene where you're like, she is really good at holding what.
I'm just disturbed in general.
Yes. Okay. There's a scene where you're like, I know what this is, and I really hope that this isn't what this is. And you get to the end and you find out that it is actually what you think it is. She's very good at that, where she like gave you a little bit of the plot twist where she's like, this is what it is. And you're like, maybe it's not.
Yeah.
Maybe it's really not.
Right.
And then it is.
Oh, gosh.
And that, like, you know how you get that dread feeling in your stomach?
Got
That
it.
is this book
Currently.
all from start to finish. That is this book.
Wow.
If you like it, hey, it is rated very high in horror novels. That's why I read it, was because it was rated so high.
Right.
Ania Ahlborn, I will pay for your therapy. I can't afford therapy, but I will pay for it. I will donate. I don't really know what's wrong with you. I don't know, but sister,
Get some help.
We do need to talk.
Find
some things
Jesus,
out.
maybe.
Now,
I don't know.
what is pretty cool is Brother is not on Kindle Unlimited. However, Seed, that is also written by Ania Ahlborn, is on Kindle Unlimited. So if you want to test out Ania Ahlborn, Brother is her most popular book, but Seed is the second best. So
Pass.
you decide. So I have heavy vibes. That is all my heavy vibes that I have. So I do have spooky vibes. Do you want to go into heavy first?
I've got a couple heavy,
I can't
but
turn, so I have to just... Now these are my fun ones.
Okay.
So, I have previously brought up, I'm not going to give a synopsis or really talk in depth about We Used to Live Here by Marcus Kliewer.
Yes.
I talked about that on the September
Yes.
reads. So, if you want to know more about that, you can go back to the September reads.
Yes.
And The Turn of the Key by Ruth Ware and The Whisper Man by Alex North.
those are both on my list.
So I highly suggest those. Those are my part of my top 3 books of all time.
Yes.
And those are ranked spooky?
The Turn of the Key. Yeah.
Yeah.
I ranked Turn of the Key in mine.
Okay,
Nice.
okay.
It's under Can't Sleep at Night. Would read, can't sleep.
See, I've got them labeled as you get the feeling that somebody's watching.
Yes.
Yes.
A little bit of mystery.
Yes.
Ghosts / strange occurrences.
Yes.
Gore. Just like
a
light
little bit.
gore.
Yeah.
Light gore.
Not Brother.
And then I've also got it down as a little bit of psychological.
Okay.
And Turn of the Key has a little bit of romance in it as well.
Yes.
So, yes.
Okay.
Those are the kinds of categories that I have. So,
Right.
Yeah.
yeah.
So I highly suggest reading We Used to Live Here. I just highly suggest all 3 of these. We Used to Live Here, The Turn of the Key, and The Whisper Man.
Yes.
Now, the 2 that I haven't talked about, I don't know if you all have read this one. I know Hannah has read the next one that we're going to talk about, which we can discuss.
Mm-hmm.
But Home Before Dark by Riley Sager.
I don't think I have. That doesn't sound familiar.
This was my first Riley Sager book, and I haven't really liked any of the books after. He has the
Gotcha.
one that's like the only one left, and I especially didn't like The House Across the Lake. We can get into that whenever we talk about our hot takes, because that was very highly talked about on TikTok, and
Gotcha.
it was not it for me. That does have spooky vibes. So if you are like, if you want to, I mean, go for it. You
I'm
know,
not gonna
whatever.
stalk you.
Read what you want to, but I just wasn't a big fan. But Home Before Dark was fantastic. And I don't know if it's because House Across the Lake, I was thinking it would be kind of like Home Before Dark.
Oh, that happened with me. I'll get into that.
Yes.
Because that's on my list as well.
Okay, so the synopsis for Home Before Dark. 25 years ago, Maggie Holt and her parents moved into Bainbury Hall, a rambling Victorian estate in the Vermont woods. 3 weeks later, they fled in the dead of night, an ordeal her father recounted in a memoir called House of Horrors. His story of supernatural happenings and malevolent spirits became a worldwide phenomenon, rivaling the Amityville horror in popularity and skepticism. Maggie was too young to remember any of the horrific events that supposedly took place, and as an adult, she doesn't believe a word of her father's claims. Ghosts, after all, don't exist. When she inherits Bainbury Hall after his death and returns to renovate the place and sell it, her homecoming is anything but warm. The locals aren't thrilled that their small town has been made infamous, and human characters with starring roles in House of Horrors are waiting in the shadows. Even more unnerving is Bainbury Hall itself, a place where unsettling whispers of the past lurk around every corner, and as Maggie starts to experience strange occurrences ripped from the pages of her father's book, the truth she uncovers about the house's dark history will challenge everything she believes. This gives it reminded me a lot of Haunting of Hill House.
I was just about to say
this reminded me a lot of Haunting of Hill House. Just like the things that happened in it. And so if you really liked that Netflix TV show,
you know it's a book, right? Like it's an actual book.
Oh, okay. No,
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Well, I knew that they did Fall of the House of Usher, and I know that is like a book. The same.
I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know that one, but
They just recently
I
did that.
wanted to read Haunting of Hill House before this, but I didn't get around to it.
Okay.
But I
yeah,
still
yeah.
recommend the Netflix series. And it
Netflix
sounds like
series
this is very along the same lines.
Yes, it very much so gave me the same vibes, same, like I could see the same people. I loved the ending. I actually have a saved Snapchat where I'm like, Hannah, read this book. Or I'm like, Kasey, do not read this book. And then I'm like, Hannah, you can read it if you want.
I think
It's
I
okay.
remember that. Yeah, yeah.
Not that scary. Casey, don't read it though.
It did give me the vibes, and I love that.
I
Love
like
that,
that.
love that, love that.
Yes.
So, I do suggest it is a more calm version of We Used to Live Here by Marcus Kliewer. So,
Okay.
but the ending, oh my God.
That good?
I mean, I feel weird saying I didn't see any of it coming because I'm always afraid that somebody's going to be like, I saw them coming from a mile away. And I'll be like, oh, good for you.
Yeah.
I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
But I didn't see it coming.
Listen, I'm the girl that didn't understand the riddle that Amarantha gave Feyre in A Court of Thorns and Roses. So you're not gonna get that. You're not gonna get that from me, okay?
Now
I have no
I'll let
room
you
to
all.
judge.
I'll let you all see how I did this. It had a little bit more scary than Turn of the Key. Had a little. I changed the font. It's just a little. It's just a little bit more scary than Turn of the Key. So,
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. And Hannah, I do believe this one is also on your
Yes,
list.
it is.
One of my favorites.
Wow.
One of my favorite. And has Caleb been able to read Pen Pal by Dathan Auerbach?
Okay, so Pen Pal, I don't think he started the actual novel.
Right.
But he did read it when it was
Yes.
just a Reddit story.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, it started out as a Reddit thread. I wrote
crazy.
the original story was posted on a Reddit thread, and when posted, they began a GoFundMe to get it published, and it grew 1,000 times the amount they needed to get it published.
Wow.
1,000
Holy
times.
cow.
Yeah. It says, in an attempt to make sense of his own mysterious and unsettling childhood memories, a man begins to reconstruct his past as the games and adventures of his youth become engulfed by a larger story. He finds that it forms a tapestry. I'm scared of you people.
Tapestry.
Tapestry.
Hypocrisy.
A tapestry story of unbelievable horror that he never could have expected. Each chapter completes a different piece of the puzzle for both you and the narrator, and by the end of it all, you all wish that you could forget what he never knew. I rated this a 4 out of 5.
Oh, wow.
Or 4.5 out of 5.
Nice.
So
I think
really
I rated
liked
it pretty high as well. I did
Yeah.
like it a lot. That was, wow. I do want to touch on like the how I read it. Me and Amanda had a 24-hour book reading
Yes.
marathon.
Which I want to do.
Yes.
We can rent a cabin and then just go on a book reading vacation.
That would be so much fun. So we were doing that 24-hour reading marathon, and that was the first book that I read that night. And oh my god,
you read it that night?
I'm so glad that I had Amanda with me because I was terrified.
Yeah.
And I'm lucky that they were living up on the second floor at that time. And like I was sitting by the window, and I was like, if we were on the first floor right now, I would not be next to this window right now. I cannot do it. Like I was like, I finished it, I want to say at like 10:30 that night.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I was like, Amanda, please don't leave me.
Sleep in my bed, please.
Please don't leave me.
I'll be
Please.
the little spoon.
Yeah. It's a short read.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
good.
I finished it that afternoon.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very good. I put it under Someone Is Watching, mystery, ghosts, and strange occurrences. Little bit of gore, psychological.
Yeah. Psychological, definitely.
Yes.
Jump scares,
Oh,
which
gosh,
you
yeah.
wouldn't even think. There are 2 scenes that stick out to me. I was saying stick out to me. There are 2 scenes that stick out to me, and it is the crawl space.
Yes.
And whenever the woman said that her son was home.
Yes. Yes. That was.
How do you have a jump scare in a book?
You would be surprised.
Yes.
You would be surprised.
It's crazy.
Because it's just like one sentence and you're like,
yeah. And because it's a movie in your head.
yes.
You
You're
see
at
it.
this point, you're
part.
reading so fast.
Yes.
Because like I will say he is very good at getting you in. I mean,
Yes.
I don't even remember reading it. I can picture
Yes.
where they were at.
Yeah.
Like whenever I talked about the crawl space scene, I was in a crawl space.
Really?
Ooh.
That's some good writing, though, at least.
Oh, gosh,
Very good
yeah.
writing.
His
I mean,
writing
for him
was spectacular.
For him to get found on Reddit,
Yes.
which
I mean, for him to get how much more?
1,000 times.
1,000 times more than you need. I mean,
Yeah.
come on. How much more validation do you need that that's good
Legit.
writing? You know, it was so good. I loved it. Loved it.
So this is $4.99 on Kindle and $9.99 on paperback. I highly, highly, highly suggest all 5 of these books. We Used to Live Here by Marcus Kliewer, The Turn of the Key by Ruth Ware,
Yes.
The Whisper Man by Alex North, Home Before Dark by Riley Sager, and Pen Pal by Dathan Arbach.
Yes.
If you are a little bit more on the can't really sleep at night, maybe not Pen Pal, but
not Pen Pal.
and maybe not We Used to Live Here.
Turn of the Key.
The Turn of the Key,
Turn of the
Whisper
Key.
Man, and Home
I
Before
gave
Dark.
Turn of the Key a 5 stars, so
I loved Turn of the Key.
I needed
love
a
Turn of the
nightlight,
Key.
but
yeah. Turn of the Key is, I mean, it's one of my favorite books of all time. So, yeah. So that is all my spooky reads, and
I'll just do a real quick.
Yeah.
Of mine. So, some of mine that are along the same lines as Pen Pal and as those others.
I'm excited. Now I wanna know.
Yes. So, a few that I've got in there. I've got Gone Girl. You didn't like Gone Girl.
I wasn't a fan.
I read that one like
I prefer Sharp Objects
Sharp Objects.
by Gillian Flynn,
Yeah.
the same girl. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was afraid that I wasn't going to like it.
See, I'd never heard of that one. I'd heard of Gone Girl.
I liked it. I liked it a lot.
Well,
I
that's
read
good
it in
to
a
know.
day.
That's good to
And
know.
I was listening to it, so that's easier. But
Still.
it's not as much of a brag.
I listened to something in
Bet.
a day.
Bet. So I've got Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn on there. Gone Girl kind of gave me the somebody's watching mystery feeling And there's just like a tad bit of gore. Have you read it? No. Okay. There's it's not much.
It's kind of like
a touch.
if you read, and I know that we've watched Stephen King's where he handcuffs his wife to the bed and then ends up having a heart attack.
Yes. So this one also has a little bit of psychological in it. Gone Girl does, as well as just a tiny bit of romance. And I remember liking it. I was fresh out of high school and read it, and yeah, I liked it a lot. So there's that one, The Cabin by Natasha Preston. I'm not going to talk about this one too much because
I want to read that one.
Yes, I just read it recently,
Oh,
so
really?
it's going to be in the next debrief episode.
I'm excited.
Yes.
I actually want to read The Cellar by Natasha Preston. I've been told that one's really good.
I haven't seen that one yet, but I will.
Nope, y'all
Kasey's-
enjoy those. That'll be fun for you.
So I think The Cabin is actually classified as young adult. But it still gives you the somebody's watching.
Yes.
The mystery.
Yeah, Natasha Preston is technically considered young adult.
And it's got the gore, it's got the psychological, the romance. Yeah, it's got some good qualities to it. I liked it a lot. I can't wait to talk more about it next episode. Then I've got The Manor House by Gillian Macmillan, which I just discussed recently in the last reading debrief. Mystery, romance, the psychological, the somebody's watching. Love it. I love that feeling. Love it. That one was really good. Amanda just read that one. She liked it a lot too. Yeah, she said that might be her favorite of the year.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
Yeah, crazy. I did put the three women in this category just because it might be somebody's cup of tea. This is the one I said wasn't really my cup of tea. The last one that I read last month.
Yeah. That's kind of how I felt about Tender as the Flesh.
Yeah.
Because everybody talks about how good it is.
Exactly. It's got,
but it's just not for me.
Yeah, it's got like prizes and stuff, but it just didn't impress me too much. But it might be somebody's cup of tea because it gives you the somebody's watching. It's got the murder mystery to it. It's psychological. So, I mean, it's got all the elements of things that I like, but it just didn't quite get there.
Yeah.
But anyway, Never Lie is on there.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
That one's too spooky. That's a can't sleep, need my hubby.
Oh my gosh, that one is a somebody's watching.
That is a somebody's watching.
That one's Strange Occurrences. That one's psychological. All of that. A little bit
Too
of gore. And then Verity by Colleen Hoover is on there as well.
Still on my TBR.
So this one's really good.
Is
really
it scary to you all? Is it supposed to be?
It gives you the...
I have a different level of scary.
Yeah, it's
Don't
not
ask me.
necessarily scary.
Right.
It's
tense.
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 That's the word for it. It's tense. It does have... This one is actually on my spice meter instead of just romance.
Where she bit the bed.
Yes.
Oh.
It's uncomfy.
Yeah. Yeah, very.
I need you to read it.
Yes,
so that
so we can discuss it.
I think that we should have a whole episode.
Yes.
Just on Colleen Hoover.
Yes,
honestly.
for sure. But you need to read this one.
Yes.
Because this is one of the big ones.
Yeah, this is the one where we're going to be on it for about 2 hours.
Yes. So I really liked it. And that was my first ever Colleen Hoover book.
Yes.
And you were talking about your book where you liked that author, but then everything else kind of...
Yes, Riley Sager. Yes.
So this was my first Colleen Hoover book. The next one that I read was Reminders of Him. And I kept waiting for there to be some kind of twist, like in Verity.
Yeah.
To where it's actually a psychological book instead of a romance. No, it was all
just
romance.
A romance. And you're like, oh.
So it's not that Reminders of Him was a bad book. I just went in with these expectations of feeling this tense feeling again and was disappointed not to feel that.
You're right.
Yeah, it was still a good book.
Yeah.
Just Yeah.
Not what you expected it to be.
Exactly. So this might surprise you a little bit. I've put Hooked, Scarred, and Twisted by Emily McIntyre on my list.
It is.
I didn't add them to mine, but if I were going to, they'd probably just make me uncomfortable at the worst.
Hooked is scary for a different reason for me.
So the reason I put these on there is because it's dark.
Yeah.
It's all of these they're different takes on old Disney fairy tale type stuff. So and I like that a lot, but it does have that more moody feel to it.
Right.
These do have a lot of spice. Just a heads up to everybody. There's actually 5 in the series. These are the only 3 that I would recommend. The others,
The Wizard of Oz, you were not a fan of. And what's the last one?
I can't remember what the last one was, but it was
Hunchback of Notre Dame.
I can't remember what it was called. And I didn't like either one of those. They are still in the dark and moody lane. I just personally wouldn't recommend
for you.
them. Yeah, not for me. But I mean, granted, that last one with the Hunchback of Notre Dame, it was like a priest, a stalker priest, a murdering stalker priest.
So adding things.
So I mean,
how much longer is this going to take?
So I mean, it fits the vibe. It made me feel too icky.
Yeah.
Another one from this genre, rock, paper, scissors.
Oh my God, rock, paper, scissors.
Yes,
Please
that
tell
one.
me you've got it on your list.
Okay, so I would actually, scary is rock, paper, scissors.
Yes.
Someone's watching you the
Yes.
whole time.
Okay,
Yes.
But I loved that book when I read it.
you still think it's an older woman and
Yes.
he is like going around her house.
Yes.
That was terrifying.
Yes.
That was terrifying, I will
Right.
say.
It
That was
is
so good.
Oh, it's so good.
Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney
Yes.
was amazing.
Yes.
I ranked that a 4. It wasn't perfect, but it was
I give it a
amazing.
4.
Yes.
I give it a 4.
It was
Yes.
amazing.
Somebody's watching you, mystery, romance, psychological, strange occurrences.
You can't read that book fast enough.
No.
Do you ever get that feeling
Yeah.
whenever
I
you're
need
reading a book and
more.
you're like trying to, your eyes just keep
Yes.
going to the
Yes.
bottom of the page and you're like, I can't read that fast.
yeah. No, that's exactly how that book felt to me. It was so good. And then The Silent Patient I've got in this category as well.
Yeah.
Yes, which, as I've said, that's one of my top books.
You know what? I actually ranked The Silent Patient as just unnerving, not scary.
Okay.
Just a little
Yeah.
unsettling.
I mean, it's got the somebody's watching.
Yeah.
It's got the psychological is unmatched. This book is top-notch psychological for me.
Yeah.
So if you're into that, 100%, that's your book. Oh yeah, and The Writing Retreat by Julia Bartz. I put that in this category.
I put that on my starter books.
Oh.
Yikes.
Whoops.
Yikes.
Did you have it on your list?
No, I don't even know what that is. That sounds
Okay.
scary. If she put it on starter and you've got it in spooky, I don't know.
It's like a murder mystery
Yeah,
type.
it's that's why I
get a
say
little
it's
better.
more.
yeah.
That's why I say it's
Still
more
not.
because it didn't really. I mean, I guess it did have ghosts, didn't it?
Yeah. And
they-
it had some spice, so it's not like kid starter.
No,
It's just
absolutely not.
No. If you're a grown adult, 21 plus, and you want to
Oh,
start,
come on, give the 17-year-olds their chance.
Nope. Back up.
18
no.
plus. I'll allow 18.
21 plus.
18.
Man.
Just don't let your mom catch you.
Yeah. Hide it in your backpack.
Don't do this.
And put it in your closet.
Don't do this. Don't listen to them.
You know, my mom asked which backpack. She said, please don't tell me it was your kindergarten backpack.
Yeah.
Why?
Obviously.
You mean my purple Lisa Frank backpack?
Long.
Beautiful.
So yeah, that's my those give me the best spooky feeling
Yeah.
in my book.
I loved the writing retreat.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because sometimes you don't really know what's real and what's
Yes.
not.
Yes.
Strange occurrences, spice.
Yeah.
It's good.
I only
It's,
have one other I would add into like more scary for me.
What?
Before we slip away into your
Yes.
all's beginners was the other misses, which you probably had somewhere, but I doubt it was scary to you.
It was. The reason it was scary. Have you finished it yet?
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh! The reason it was scary was because, like, I think that would happen.
Yes.
I'm so worried that this is going on in my own life.
So we are not going to go in depth on that one because
Yeah.
We both read it this month.
now that we've all read it, we'll go a little more in depth
Yes.
with the debrief.
I would add that
where-
as scary. I gave that
can
a
I-
5.
I would put that on there just for the
It's
psychological,
scary, yeah.
the psychological side of things. But also, it
When
gives
did
you that
it-
somebody's watching feeling too.
Yes.
So yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Did you have any more on your scary?
No, everything else is
unsettling-
now unnerving or uncomfortable or not scary at all.
Okay, all right. So mine. Do you have any that's how does your starter list go?
Yeah, what's your starter list?
Final Girl Support Group by Grady Hendrix.
I agree
put
with
in
that.
uncomfortable. I did only rank it a 3 because
is-
I don't understand the references
Right.
as
Yeah.
well. Because it's
if
based
you are
on
into
horror
slasher
films.
movies
Yeah.
are
Okay.
older slasher movies are amazing to watch around this time of year. So, because I watched Evil Dead, I read Final Girl Support Group. Fun fact: I did the blind date with a book thing.
Is this
Is
the
that-
book?
Yeah.
Ah, that's funny.
Yeah, yeah. So it said something along the lines of something bad happened to this group of friends. Will they be able to bond together to come back from it? And it said horror, slasher. And so I was like, oh, this sounds really interesting. And I'd take it apart, I buy it, take it apart, and immediately walk back in. I'm like, I've read this. So
Yeah.
now I'm afraid to do blind
Did they
dates.
let
with books.
Yeah.
you return it?
Yes, they did.
They did?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
good.
They said that they kind of figured that stuff would happen. So
Yeah.
That's good.
That's
yeah,
so
they just
nice.
rewrap it.
Good.
So.
Good. I really liked that one. It gave you the somebody's watching.
It does
you.
have a little. It's not so much gory as it is disturbing, I guess.
Yeah.
Like you sit there and you feel their pain. And you're like, oh God.
Yeah.
ah."
Yes.
Yeah.
Now I do have a problem with this book though. They didn't go into detail about what one of the girls' rooms was. Just talked about, oh my God, the horror of it.
That's true.
I
That-
appreciated that.
Still
That-
to this day, that bothers me. I'm like, what was in that room?
Right. Like to where it
So.
was so bad.
Yeah. Because it was the worst one, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was in it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have a hard time. I do want to read How to Sell a Haunted House by Grady Hendrix. And I also want to read Home is Where the Bodies Are by Geneva Rose.
Geneva Rose.
Yeah. And I
Okay.
also want to read The Shadows, I believe, by Alex North.
Alex North is the one that did the Whisper Man, right?
Yes. And so you know how in The Whisper Man, what it is, the cover is a hand with a butterfly on the palm. This one is also a hand where the like fingerprints are shadows of people. It makes me wonder if they are like
In a
Connected.
connection. Yeah.
Did you have any other starters?
No.
Okay. Go with your unsettling, Kasey.
So my unnerving ones.
Unnerving, sorry.
I'm going to start from my favorites to the least favorites.
Yes.
This was a 5, and so was the beginning one, The Silent Patient and The Maidens.
Yes.
They're unnerving. They do make me very uncomfortable, but I didn't lose sleep at night over them.
Right.
Those are a little unnerving.
Yes.
They're not, but I'm not going to be like terrified the whole day. I don't have to think about these later. And then Everyone Here Is Lying by Sherry Lapina.
You
Yeah.
just read that.
I just read that
Okay.
one. I liked it just because you never know what was going to happen in it. Again, a little unnerving because there is a kidnapping of a child. But you're not going to sit and wonder about it later. Now, this one I just finished reading recently. It's called Just the Nicest Couple by Mary Cubica, who did The Other Misses.
Yes.
Yeah. This one, there's lots of interesting twists and turns. It's a murder mystery type. You're trying to figure out what happens to somebody. And you're just unsettled the entire time. You feel like someone's watching you a little bit. I did have 2 chapters I thought I needed a nightlight with. Otherwise, I was okay.
Gotcha.
So unnerving, borderline on scary on that.
Have you
Those
read
are
Local
4s.
Woman Missing by Mary Kubica?
I haven't. It's on my TBR.
Okay. It's sad.
Is it?
Yeah.
I might not be able to do it then.
It's sad. I don't think it's sad for the reasons... I don't think most people would think it's sad for the reasons that I think it's sad, but I think it's sad.
Yeah. Now I have to add this one as an honorary because my mom loved it. Every 15 Minutes by Lisa Scottoline. And it's another one of those psychological,
Nice.
but it's also a murder mystery type.
Ooh.
So I was very unnerved by parts of it, but otherwise I felt a little predictable in some
Gotcha.
ways, but she didn't think it was predictable. So it might have just been something I had read recently because I had
Yeah.
just read other stories that were spooky in this time frame.
Gotcha.
I might have already just been in that time frame of
Already
mind.
had the
Yeah.
framework for it, so it's kind of easy to
Yeah.
slip in.
That is all of my unnervings. Everything else was lower, so we'll just move on from
Okay,
those.
so I've got some good starters for even like young readers who might be looking for something that gives you a little bit of just the vibe, not necessarily scares you, but gives you the vibe of it's Halloween, it's October, it's fall, you know?
Yeah.
So some of those include The Seer of Shadows by Avi, which I had almost completely forgotten about this book until we were doing this episode. It's about this kid who develops photographs, and like he'll sometimes catch a ghost in his photos and stuff. Like, it's really cool. He goes to a graveyard. He goes to this
that's pretty
mansion.
cool.
I remember it
Freaky.
being really. It gave me that
Heebie-jeebies.
spooky- Yes, but I was in like 8th grade.
Yeah.
So it's good for young readers, but I kind of want to go back and reread it
Yeah.
now because I mean I have such fond memories of it, and it was one of those under the radar type books that
Yeah.
makes me curious about it now, you know.
Right.
So I've got that one. Of course, I've got the Harry Potter series because even though those aren't necessarily scary, they've got the mystery, they've got the creatures, they've got, you know, all of the. They feel like Halloween. I finally went back and I restarted my Harry Potter journey. I am on the 2nd one currently. So, and it's this time of year, it's just, I love it. It's immaculate for this time of year. The Raven Boys series by Maggie Stiefvater.
Stiefvater.
I actually didn't like this series very much, but it might be good for a young adult read, and because I just read it. I think I just finished the series at the beginning of this year. So, I mean, I don't think I was in the correct mindset, but it's got ghosts, it's got strange occurrences, it's got, like a mystery that they're trying to solve together. It's got a little bit of romance. It's got ghosts. It's just all around. It's very spooky vibes.
Yeah.
I actually have a category on here that is Twilight vibes. Because
Twilight is a good...
Yeah.
This is the time of year for Twilight.
yes. So the ones that fall into that category, besides Twilight, obviously, it's the Fallen series and the Hush Hush series, which I talked about in our back to school episode. It's the angel ones,
Fallen angels.
the angsty angels. Yes, those are in that. They have that Twilight vibe to them. So if that's what you're after, those would be good ones to do besides Twilight. And Nevermore by Kelly Craig, I believe is how you say it. This one is another one I almost forgot about. It is it pulls from Edgar Allan Poe stories.
Oh.
Yes, into modern day. What it is, it's this romance between a popular girl and a kind of introverted, almost emo guy that, and I can't remember it exactly, and I didn't do the research beforehand, so I'm sorry for that. But I do know if you like Edgar Allan Poe and want something that's a little bit more of a modern take on it, this is the one. This is the one. I reckon it's part of a series, but I never read any more of the series.
Right.
But it was a nice new take on Edgar Allan Poe, because I've said before, I don't know if I kept it in the episode, I'm not a huge Edgar Allan Poe fan. Granted, my husband did get mad at me for that statement and said, how long has it been since you've tried it? And I said, school. And he said, well, you're an adult now, so I was like,
but we know what we like. I don't like Old English. I can't understand Old English.
I just remember him being such a slow writer, and I didn't like that.
One that really disturbed me where he was building the wall.
Yes.
That one is one that really disturbed me.
Yeah.
Well, I like that one.
But yeah, so if you like Edgar Allan Poe, Nevermore might be good.
What type of friendship do we have where you like one type of scary and I like another type of scary?
Different types of scary here.
Exactly.
Different types of scary. I did include a few that might be a little bit controversial. The Lord of the Flies by William Golding.
Like The Lord of the Flies.
Yes.
I contemplated putting it on here, and I didn't know if you all would think it was scary fall vibes.
It's unsettling.
Yeah, it is a little unsettling.
Premise, because it's these kids on an island.
I'd have probably put it in unnerving.
Yeah.
But I wasn't sure if it'd make it.
Yeah, no, I've got it on here. And I did go ahead and put The Road on here as well with it.
It's been so long, I can't even recall now. So I didn't want to give a good commentary.
It's got cannibals. It's post-apocalyptic. I've got A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson.
That was a DNF. And I don't know if it necessarily was an on-purpose DNF.
I gotcha.
I just couldn't get into it.
I gotcha. If you ever want to try again, I got the physical book.
One of my mom's really good friends, it's like her favorite book ever.
Really?
Yeah. Have y'all read it?
Yeah.
I've not.
You've not?
It's good. It's a good mystery. It's good young adult mystery without being too hardcore.
Yeah.
I mean, the hardest part is
In the woods.
her I'm going to spoil this. Her they kill her dog. Yeah. That's the most hardcore part.
Aww. Why do you gotta bring animals into this?
No.
Now, join us over on doesthedogdie.com.
Is there? I wonder
That's
if
a real thing for movies.
God.
Nice. I've got Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children by Ransom Riggs. Did you guys ever read that one?
My sister did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one of Matthew's favorites.
Yeah. I always liked the cover art.
Yes.
I loved the cover art.
Where it was like the picture and yeah. That's a good one for young readers. Daughter of the Pirate King series by Tricia Levenseller.
I remember you talking about
Yes.
this. I didn't think you were that big of a fan of it.
I actually did really like it.
Did you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I think I would have enjoyed it more had I been in high school.
Oh, okay.
Just too immature for now.
Just a tad. Just a tad. But it was still good. I think the biggest disappointment was that the spice level was rated high.
Yeah.
And it's more just romance. It's young adult. It's young adult spice. You know, like it's closed door. It's cuts off after a minute. It's that kind of spice, not the
It's Nicholas Sparks spice.
It's not the actual spice. It's wannabe spice.
It's paprika.
Yeah.
Paprika.
Yeah. It's still a good series,
Not
though.
cayenne, though.
If you want the vibes, and I mean, people dress up as pirates.
I'm looking for a Carolina Reaper, baby.
Of course, I've got all of Cassandra Clare's books on there: the Infernal Devices, The Last Hours, Mortal Instruments, Dark Artifices, and then another one that's going to be in our next debrief: Only a Monster by Vanessa Lynn. There is a second one that I haven't read yet. So I only put the first one on here. But that one is another good young adult read with a little bit of romance to it. Okay. And a surprise ending. And it leaves you, it gives you that feeling of constantly running. They're running away. Mm-hmm. So it's constantly running, that kind of feeling.
Oh, I don't like that.
I like that a lot.
Be out of breath.
Out of breath sitting on your couch.
And I
don't like the running. I don't like running.
I think that's all I've got with the young adult ones. What about you?
Now, when you're really wanting something quote unquote spooky, these are just uncomfortable ones. Wrong place, wrong time.
Okay.
I like that one, especially because the setting begins at Halloween.
Okay.
Because she's got the pumpkin. They're doing all
tense.
of that.
That is very tense.
It's
I loved
murdery.
it.
Gotcha.
It's a little uncomfortable of what's happening. Why is it happening?
Right.
But it's not scary. Nobody needs a nightlight. And then this one might surprise you all. Where the Crawdads Sings.
I did put that one on my...
Good. Okay, good.
Because it's a murder mystery.
Yeah. Now, it does trigger warning for SA, but...
Yeah.
So I wouldn't give it to maybe a high schooler who's not versed enough in that. But
I didn't do any trigger warnings on mine.
We can do an overall.
There's going to be a general.
We can do an overall, and I can stick it at the beginning.
Because all of the icky
when you say
feeling
horror,
ones,
I don't think you need a trigger warning. I think that's the trigger warning.
Well, the icky feeling ones have some.
Yeah.
Have some mean things.
Right.
Yeah, that's why they're considered horror.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. But it kind of goes along with the genre.
Mine, I need to tell you because I said it just made me uncomfortable. But then there's going to be something that's like,
made me sad.
Well, wait a second, that was a little darker than I wanted that to be. But it's not like the whole thing's dark.
Right.
I threw the final girls support group into the uncomfortable there. It's not really itself scary till the one bit at the end.
Slasher.
Yeah.
It's very slasher, horror.
But very comedic. So it doesn't.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like I need to lose any sleep.
Right.
And if you don't watch Thrashers, you don't know half of what's going on anyway.
Yeah. I didn't get any other references.
Right.
Either.
So I was like, I wasn't that scared. Mm-hmm. So then I had my not scaries. I just recently finished this. Finley Donovan is killing it. It's a murder comedy.
Nice.
I want to think I read this one because your sister read it at the beach and I saw her put it on Snapchat and I was like, oh my God, that sounds kind of hilarious. That's an interesting title. I want to know. So it's like a murder comedy though. The entire time you're like, oh my God, it's so stupid, but it's like you walk into it thinking like the movie Get Smart. Like, just walk into it thinking crap like that. Mm-hmm. She's misunderstood, and everything is just falling apart all around her. And you're like, well, I mean, is murder really that bad under these circumstances moments? Now, I gave that a 4. Uh-huh. I've been trying, and I just realized it is in the last episode that I'm currently reading this book, and I'm still currently reading it. The Best Way to Bury Your Husband. It's by Alexia Kasali.
Yeah.
Is it hard? Is it a hard read?
It's yeah.
No.
Yeah. It's
You can
supposed
DNF
to be a comedy
I won't be
one.
mad at you.
I'm too far now. I'm within the last 80 pages. We're finishing this. We're finishing it.
Yeah.
It's just not my thing. It's too far on the cheesy.
Gotcha.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it's somebody else's. But that would be a good Halloween book if you don't want anything scary.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So
I gotcha.
But or if you just want to figure out how to off your husband. I mean, if that's your thing. My husband's a little nervous right now. So
every time she pulls it out, he's like,
she's still reading it. It's like I'm studying it at this point. Is what he thinks.
Yeah.
She's making notes in there.
I wouldn't suggest killing your husband because
never.
they always look at the spouse first.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
but if you want to just make him uncomfortable, like you are contemplating, just lay it around, put it on the coffee table, move the bookmark around a few times, maybe add a couple of sticky notes in it.
Yes. Absolutely.
Just make him uneasy.
I have one last one, and I wanted to save this one for the end because this is the most Halloween. It's got something for everyone. You cannot get more Halloween than this, and you won't be able to convince me otherwise. Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark by Alvin Schwartz.
I never read those. Caleb is obsessed. He still wants to go back and read them every now and then.
They're amazing. And last year, me and Matthew started, we would, instead of having movie nights, we would have chapter nights where we would find our favorite stories from them and read them to each other. by lantern light.
Oh.
Yeah.
We should do that. We should all get together and do a bonfire and do
Dude,
that.
Are we
would
really
love
doing
that.
Megamind?
Yes.
Yes. Did you
Why
get
do
mine?
you always think I'm joking? You thought I was joking about
I
dressing
set up a date.
I thought it was just wasn't so serious.
We picked a date for
next
this.
week.
So yeah, that is my top Halloween that is the Halloween book. It's got funny stories. It's got like a little bit gory stories.
Ooh.
It's got the somebody's watching me feeling. The one where the guy's in the back seat and the
Oh my
person
god, that
behind-
still haunted me.
yeah, that is always that's my favorite.
And what's crazy is I didn't realize that was a fake story.
You thought it was like
Oh.
news?
Yes, because I didn't read it in
Jeez.
one of those books. The only scary stories to tell in the dark I read about was the toe,
Oh gosh, yeah, the toe,
the scar, or the ribbon.
the ribbon.
Yeah, and
Is that where you got the Black Eyed Kids from?
I wish to wipe and wash your windows.
Yes, I'm the
viper?
viper. I'm the
Oh.
viper.
I'm the viper.
Yes, I remember that one
I'll be
too.
there, and I'll be there soon.
Yes.
I remember you telling me that one.
I'll be there soon.
So
I'm the
it's-
viper. I wish to wash and wipe your windows.
Yes. So it's got a little something for everybody, even if you're not as scared. And the thing is, you can pick and choose because it's all just a collection of these short stories, and it's amazing.
All right.
So
That was Spooky Reads. We do have, fun fact, because I do believe this is the first episode that we will be able to talk about having a book club
yes,
over
Oh, yeah.
yes.
Pumpkin Spice Cafe by Lori Gilmore.
Yes. So I know it's a little bit short notice. It is a quick read.
It's
though.
very fast.
If you listen on Audible, I listened at 1.5 speed. I was done in 4.5 hours, I reckon.
Oh, wow.
It was
I'm
not
the
bad at
slowest
all.
reader out of all of us, and I read it over the course of 4 days, but I could read a quarter of the book at a time, and it wasn't that bad. I
Yeah.
could have done more.
Yeah.
It was really easy for me to get into. Now we will talk about it
Yes.
later.
You will
Should be
hear
coming out
all of it.
November 10th.
November 10th.
November 10th.
So be ready to discuss the Pumpkin Spice Cafe by Lori Gilmore with us on November 10th.
They've got about 2 weeks.
You've got about 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You've got plenty of time. No excuses. Be ready.
Yeah. It's only $2.99 on Kindle.
Yes.
I think that's the cheapest way.
Yes, I think
Yeah.
it is as well. I think it is. I can already tell you our local Libby is like months out.
Yeah.
So you're not going to get lucky there. But Kindle, $2.99. So if you don't already, follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook at the Unfinished TBR. Email us if you feel like it, the Unfinished TBR at gmail.com. We're on YouTube. We're on Spotify. Just come say hi. We love
Yes.
you guys, and we love talking, obviously. So come talk to us.
Yeah.
Like, rate, subscribe, share.
Yes, all the good stuff. We appreciate everything that you do. Thanks for sticking with us, and have a very spooky and safe Halloween.
Yay!
Love you.
We love you.
By the way, I'm sorry. I didn't know you were there.
Mom.